Okay, we're doing it. Okay. Sweet. Hey, MB. Sorry, I'm just getting everything else set up, guys. Ah, sick. Okay. All right. I'm like figuring things out right now. I figured out how to end mid-roll ads, I think. So that's good. But I also figured out how to play ads if I need to like step away, which is like a sick, like once a week. I mean, sorry, once an hour. Just like hit an ad and then take a break for myself. You know what I mean? It's like a good way to kind of like take a break real quick. So I think that that's really good. I'm excited about that. I don't want to have to like I don't want mid-roll ads, you know, I don't want it to be like, but on my videos I do, but hanging out in chat and hanging out watching the stream, I don't, you know, so I'm figuring it out. Figuring it out. Okay, and then done. Cool. Sweet. Okay. All right. Okay. I also was looking for ideas for let's see. This, no. This. I was looking for videos to react to, which would be cool. Okay. Debunking anti-vax. This would be interesting. Okay. Um. Vaccine, like vaccine skeptic. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else. Natural immunity. Ooh, natural immunity is a good one. Because that's like the whole. No. Okay. Joe Rogan, mRNA. Hey, Ellen. I think I disabled the mid-roll ads, so I hopefully hopefully that's good. But then I also added the ability to make ads though, so that should be good. This guy's like making weird. I wonder if I could watch that. Got 2.5 hours of this. Let's try watching this. Okay. What is this? Oh, this is the CRISPR scientists. The CRISPR scientist guy. Oh my gosh. What? Oh. What? I know it. I've planned for this. I know what to do. This. This. Pop out chat. Oh, thank you, Helen. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know. I keep trying to have like one unified chat. It's so frustrating because like it just can't do it. It can't, like one program can't do it all. It's so funny. So I have just like 1,000 windows open up on my screen so I don't. Thank you, Helen. Cool. Thank you, MB, for all the gifts. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm learning. Oh, thank you, MB. All right. Yeah, they're cool. They are cool. All right. Cool. Let's see how this looks on here. Okay. Nice. Yes. Okay, sick. Nice. Cool. Hey, Michelle. Sweet. Sweet. Perfect. Cool. And it automatically does the YouTube gifts and stuff too. That's awesome. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let's see here. God, I hate this guy. Strange 7 months ago. The religion of vaccines. Oh my gosh. Donica Patrick. Yeah, this guy's gold. Dude, this is crazy. There's no way this is a real video. There's no way. Rob Schneider.
Do you know what year the syringe started?
Rob Schneider brought laughs and heavy words to the book launch of Vaccines Amen. What? Why would Rob Schneider, of all people, how?
Mr. Attorney over there, smarty pants.
I asked the questions.
You did change things, and in a way that I felt like maybe we can win this thing, or at least stop the continued encroachment on our liberties.
They need to stop believing in these products, and they start thinking about them.
Yes. Remember they were telling us, don't do your own research. And he's like, you mean read? You don't want us to read?
What are you reading? This is, again, Rob Schneider, everyone. He's going to be the one that tells us. Like, really? Rob Schneider. Of all people, dude. Are you serious? I never would have thought that like comedians would have been this like arbiter of truth or whatever in our society now. It's so on to me.
I think a lot of folks started realizing, wait a second, we need to treat these like products, meaning they need to be properly safety tested before and after. We need to have our rights.
Dude, this guy is a lawyer right here. He is a lawyer saying that the vaccines have never been safety tested. How is that possible? How can he just say that as a lawyer? Like, how aren't they just suing him?
We should have the right to say no, not just based on, believing in religion. We should be.
And he's calling like vaccines a religion. So he's saying that vaccine belief is a religion in and of itself.
Be able to say no because I read that package insert and I don't want it. I looked at the post-safety review and I don't want it. If you got to force me to do it, I don't want it. If they need immunity for liability, I don't want it, right? And the thing that government's afraid of, they're not worried about fault.
There is like 5 people in the in the audience.
Statements. They're not worried about, they're worried about the truth. That's what you need to censor.
Yeah.
You need to censor the truth.
And they did.
And that's why they did it.
54% of America's children suffer at least one chronic illness.
And it would be a lot higher of diseases if they weren't vaccinated. 54%, like, it could have been a lot higher because those kids would have been dead. Right? I mean, hello. So the idea that there's just more kids, there's going to be more chronic illness in the world because there's more kids that are alive. But the percentage, I mean, that's what, oh my gosh.
Some 3 or 4. Now we have obesity. We have things in children. We have suffer from chronic illnesses that are unheard of decades ago.
I mean, there's going to be more kids alive. So there's going to be just a more different types of like illnesses and just that exist because there's more kids surviving. I mean, it has nothing to do with that.
Mere 2 decades ago. The thing about it is, and in my opinion, and I'm not shy anymore about it. What else can they do to me?
He's so brave.
I'm not going to make Deuce Bigelow 5, 6, and 7. So, I call it the patron saint of medicine, and you call it vaccines. Amen. And no one had a peanut allergy, and no one ever said you can't bring.
Wait, he has a book called "You Can Do It" from the freaking "You Can Do It." Are you serious? That's that. He has his own anti-vaccine book.
Peanut butter when I was a kid in school. We didn't have that. We did not have children sick at this level.
Well, during COVID,
what? How could he? Based off of what? Just his anecdotal experience? Like, how are these people? I don't think that people are taking Rob Schneider seriously, But what's happening is that he's being parroted, and he is, the guy on the left, Aaron Siri, is advising the ACIP panel now, so Deuce Bigelow on the right, the actor, comedian, air quotes, now, like, he is kind of like reflecting, and he is the sounding board for a lot of this stuff.
Like you said earlier, the government, they overreached, and people saw it. It's one thing when you come out with a new vaccine mandate, you give it to little babies who can't talk, who can't explain, I'm not feeling well, I've got some dysautonomia, right?
I like the idea of these people, like, yeah, they're also not consenting to not be vaccinated and being exposed to disease, right? I mean, that's the other thing. They're not consenting to having lifelong disabilities tied with vaccine preventable illnesses either.
What can a 2-month-old tell you? You went with this product and gave it to 270 million Americans. And so whatever, the effects of that were harder to hide.
So as far as vaccines in this belief system, do we have a third? Are we going to be able to get to that next level?
If a third of people read this book, we will.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to find out the truth that we've been lied to. The food pyramid, if you go on that, you will become obese. They've been lied to. Apparently, Fruit Loops, no.
They tried to go off of it. Michelle Obama tried to go off of the food pyramid, but you guys revolted. The fact that a woman was like trying to give any type of recommendation or having any type of change in the everyday life was fascism to these people. I mean, and people like had conniption fits about it.
Fruit in it, just so you guys know. However, for all you parents and for all the parents of vaccine-injured children, you are finally believed.
No, you're not.
And God bless all of you.
I got one final word to say to that.
Insane.
Amen.
Look at these people. Like how privileged they are to live in a world, right? This is like they're living in a society where they all grew up. Look at these like boomers. They all grew up like polio vaccinated. They all have MMR, and they're denying that same liberty and freedom for all these kids that are growing up. Like absolutely disgusting. Truly evil people. So brave. So brave. Okay, I'm gonna let's see here. I don't know what this move. I don't know what this button does. I think it's gonna play an ad. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. This. I'm gonna be right back. I'll be back. 1 second. I'm gonna check this. I disabled mid-roll ads. I don't think that it can do it on stream anymore. But then I still enabled it to like do ads while I'm away. So I'll be right back. Let's see if this works. Sorry, 1 second. I want to figure out operations features. All right, right back. I'm back for a little bit. I put some chicken on the thing. Dude, I wanted to do El Nino, the El Nino that's happening. I'm curious about what's actually happening with it. The El Nino. This is the strongest ever. All right. What is Brightside? 44.6 million subscribers? Who is this? Dude, I mean, look at all this AI videos. God, what are these AI thumbnails, bro? People get mad at me for... Yeah, this is all AI, bro. 3-hour videos, just like every day they put out a 3-hour video. So this is a stream. That has to be a stream.
A quiet state in the U.S.
What?
Saw that day that she borrowed this dress from Roberts and put it on. But where was the other girl? And why was
This is
there
all
no
AI.
car? A few decades later, in 1990, population.
Higgsfield. What is Higgsfield? Higgsfield AI. Yeah, a 3-hour AI video maker. Yeah. Dang. Wow. So they put out a whole AI video every... Dude, the whole video. Oh my gosh. The whole thing is AI based. What? The whole channel is AI. What? What? Bro, this is what I mean though. I'm like, what? The entire channel is AI. Hi. Wow. Okay. All right. This is, I mean, this is so triggering. This is so triggering. 44 million subscribers. How Social Blade. What? Look at that. Dude, they do. Wow, that's not that many. For 44 million subscribers, the fact that they're only doing 11 million views is actually not that good. That's actually really surprising to me. Wow. Wow. Let's see where we're at. One second. Annoying. Let's see, guys. Let's see. What? I do not have 20. Oh, that's a TikTok. Let's see. Oh, yeah. This is where we're going. These views are always like so short. These are that includes shorts, so it's like impossible to tell. But you can see the views from everything like just going nuts in the last I'd say the last week. Yeah, it's been in the last week. Just hit the algorithm starting early June, and now it's like it's actually pretty wild. Yeah, 47,000. Let's go. Let's go. Total? Anyway, guys. Hello. Hello, Australia. I'm sorry. That was awful. I'm so sorry. All right. I apologize for that. That was bad, and I should feel bad. Okay. All right, 1 second. Will it actually play an ad? Will it play an ad? Nope. All right. I don't know how to do the ads during the thing, but it's like okay, whatever. Oh, this thing I had just put up like like some type of like donation goal, and AI just like picked a number. It wasn't anything like that we have to. It's not like any pressure or anything. It was just something that I wanted to put up like for a donation goal. I was thinking about what to do with this monitor in terms of the YouTube stream now. You know, so I've been thinking about it. So I have to think about it. I don't know yet. You know, so we'll just have to see. Oh, maybe that's the thing because I have YouTube Premium on my phone. That's why. Okay, and then I wonder if I can stop the ad. Oh, 128. Settings. Hmm. Okay, cool. Uh-huh. I'm listening. Okay, Rush, that's very nice of you. Thank you. I wonder. Ah, this is kind of cool. Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I will have to. I don't know what you mean specifically in terms of like what in Australia did. You'll just have to like say what happened. I mean, in normal, in I well usually. I mean, I think it's important to always prioritize public health over individual things, but yeah, I was legit stuck in my room for 6 months. Yeah, Rush. I mean, I didn't go. I mean, my family and I, we, other than dog walks, you know, we didn't leave our house and our area for like over a year. So, you know, I think that it's really important during a pandemic to do what you can as that's someone, if you are healthy, you know, it is your burden during a pandemic to go through those extreme procedures to isolate yourself, to stop community spread in order to help survive, you know, as many people as possible during that time. And I think that it's frustrating to, it can be frustrating to think about like all this time, you know, the mental health burden is real. I agree, but at the same time, you're you know you're saving people's lives. So I definitely side on this on the side with, you know, mandatory vaccines, public health measures like masking, isolating people, that kind of thing. And it's not and it wasn't forever. I think that was the other thing, is that what happened was these people that wanted to use fear and intimidation, talking about like they're never gonna stop, we're gonna have vaccine passports forever, we're never gonna have any freedoms again. That was all wrong, right? All those things did lax eventually after the pandemic. So the idea that they were contributing during a time of mental health crises to people and adding on more fear unjustified, that this is going to be a forever thing, like those people never were held to account. And I really hate that. I really hate that they were able to stoke division and fear and conspiracy during that time, and they were never held to account. But then there's a hypervigilance with science and epidemiology and microbiology in the terms of us doing whatever we can in order to save lives. So it actually really, really frustrates me how the conspiracy people are just continually, oh, wow, thank you so much. $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for your thoughts, man. I'm still very conflicted with how I view it. I definitely think we did have a good outcome. Only lost like 1,200 people. Wow. Rush, that's incredible. The other way is the United States, and how we did it was extremely embarrassing. We lost some of the highest in the world. In deaths per capita, we were ranked like 200th in the world or something. We did abysmally. We lost a lot of people. 1.2 million people died during the pandemic in the United States, and we've never really talked about it. We've never really gone through it. We've never had a retrospective on like how we can do better in the next pandemic, why we did so poorly, everything. Thank you for the jewels, Paula. Thank you. So it's tough, man. But it's a pandemic, It is legitimately something that we all went through, and something that we, that binds us together, Okay, dude, I love Democracy Now! And so I would love for us to kind of like hang out, watch Democracy Now! On stream. I think it's a cool way to get the news, and I appreciate their perspective, and it's actually good independent journalism. Like Democracy Now! Is actually, in my opinion, like actually good quality independent journalism. But the problem is that a lot of people say they are independent journalists, and in reality they're just like reading Twitter headlines, or they're just reading algorithmic news slop, as opposed to a journalist outfit like Democracy Now! that is actually doing the work of interviewing, talking to people, being on the ground, which is that is the cost of journalism, right? Being an outfit like the New York Times is going to have you more access, more people on the ground, higher production value, and that's why they're seen still as kind of like a gold standard. But Democracy Now! I feel like is an interesting like middle ground, and what I feel like is the gold standard of like independent like journalism.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel is continuing to bomb Lebanon, killing at least 4 people, despite calls by President Trump for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to be more responsible in Lebanon. Iran's accused Israel of violating the truce in Lebanon 84 times since the U.S. and Iran agreed to a memorandum of understanding to end the war in Iran and the region. While the text of the U.S.-Iran deal has not been...
Hey, Colin. What's up, man? Thank you. Your shitting on Kent video is very good. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for saying that. Thanks for hopping in. Welcome.
...made public, CNN says it's obtained the full 14-point agreement. The first point calls for a, quote, immediate and permanent end to the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, unquote. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke in Tehran on Tuesday.
The end of the war also includes the end of occupation, without the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories they have occupied in the war. A full end to the war has not been achieved, and any military attack by the Zionist regime on Lebanon from now on, as well as the continued occupation of Lebanese territories from now on, will, in our view, be considered a violation of the Memorandum of Understanding.
The U.S. and Iran are expected to formally sign the deal in the Swiss resort of Bergenstock on Friday. Overnight, G7 leaders meeting in the French Alps issued a declaration supporting the U.S.-Iran deal, even though the text of the deal has not been released.
Real quick. So this is what we're talking about in terms of, so Israel's here. Israel's right here, this right here, and they've gone up into Lebanon in terms of pushing out Hezbollah. But where were they actually, where is Israel bombing Lebanon? Where in Lebanon? Playing on any more debates in the future? Yeah, man. I am ferociously trying to get on like any right-wing podcast or any type of like confrontational or adversarial podcasts, basically. So I've put out like over 100 emails, and I'm ferociously trying to get in there for sure, man. Beirut. Oh wow. Okay, so that's really far in. Interesting. Thank you. Speaking at the G7 summit in France, he also said that Israel has been fighting Hezbollah for too long and too many people are being killed. Yeah. It seems like it, man. Smoke arises from a border area in southern Lebanon following the Israeli strike. Wow, 3,800 people have been killed so far in the Lebanon conflict. It's embarrassing.
In other news from Lebanon, an Israeli drone on Monday struck a journalist with the Iranian outlet Press TV while he was reporting from southern Lebanon. Hadi Hotait was reporting on camera at the time of the attack.
I'm in the center of Kfar Tibnit right now. The entrance of Kfar Tibnit from this side. An artillery strike just targeted the area behind me. As you can see, there is heavy drone activity in the vicinity. And of course, the destruction, the amount of destruction is very strong. The Israelis did try to destroy the entire area.
Jesus.
The journalist, Hadi Hotait, survived the attack, but was hit by 6 pieces of shrapnel. Later in the show, we'll look more at Israel's targeting of journalists with Sean Murray, director of the new documentary Genocide, The War on Truth. It's premiering here at Doc's Ireland Festival in Belfast on Thursday. Israel's Supreme Court's rejected an appeal by Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, the prominent Palestinian doctor from Gaza, who's been detained without charge for over 500 days. The court said its decision to continue Dr. Abu Safia's imprisonment is based on, quote, confidential materials withheld from Abu Safia and his legal team. Dr. Abu Safia was moved to solitary confinement 2 weeks ago. Last week, his family said they fear he's being tortured in Israeli detention after the doctor appeared by video link at a court hearing. Prior to his detention, Dr. Abu Safia served as a pediatrician and director of the Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza. The U.S. military's carried out another deadly strike on a boat in the eastern Pacific. U.S. Southern Command said the strike killed one person while 2 others survived. The U.S. military claimed the boat was engaged in drug trafficking, but once again offered no evidence. The U.S. has killed more than 200 people in over 60 boat strikes since last September.
What? This doesn't even make the news. 200 people over 60 boats? What? What? I am like shocked. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. I am shocked. What in the world, dude? 60 boat strikes. What are they doing?
Intercepts reported a high-ranking Pentagon officer admitted during a recent classified briefing that some of the casualties in at least one of the boat strikes may have been victims of human trafficking, not drug smugglers. In Minneapolis, federal prosecutors...
So it's just anything. They're coming, sometimes it's human trafficking, sometimes it's drug smuggling. They're not even consistent. I mean, the problem I have with that approach, it's like, okay, if you have the evidence, then those people deserve to have their time in court, right? They deserve their time to prove, to show. And if it's slam dunk like that, why wouldn't you just bring them in? I hate this approach of just like you just bomb them and leave no trace. I mean, that is psychotic. It's so dangerous. I mean, you can't, obviously, it's, I mean, it leaves me, wow, I'm just shocked, I guess. It's crazy.
Prosecutors have announced charges against 15 anti-ICE activists who took part in protests against the Trump administration's deadly immigration crackdown in the Twin Cities earlier this year. The 15 people are accused of being part of an anti-fascist or Antifa group that, quote, violently oppose immigration law enforcement, unquote. The indictment names 2 groups, Direct Action Minnesota and Black Cat Workers Collective. Last fall, the Trump administration categorized Antifa as a domestic terror organization, even though Antifa is not an actual group. Protests took place Tuesday outside the federal courthouse in St. Paul after the charges were announced. U.S. Marshals responded by deploying pepper spray and aerosol grenades. We'll go to Minneapolis after headlines. Protests broke out Tuesday in Mississippi 2 days after police in the city of Senatobia fatally shot a 1-year-old black boy named Cohen Wiley while responding to a shoplifting call at Walmart.
What?
Eyewitnesses said the boy's mother and a family friend were seen leaving the store carrying the boy along with a package of diapers. Police then opened fire on their car as it tried to leave the parking lot, killing the baby and critically injuring the other woman. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump is now representing the family. Crump said, quote, his mother...
Thank you, man. Thank you. Do I have to take a vaccine for muscle cramps or can I just take vitamins? Nice. That was a very wild moment in the thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that in the debate either, man. Like what is he, how he was just joking how there's, there's vaccines for everything now. No, there's not. Just pathogens. No, just viruses. No. But yeah, this story of like them opening fire. I mean, this is the idea. People get mad in scenarios where there's videos of people just walking out of a store, without paying for something. And it's like sensationalized where it's like, oh my gosh, you can just steal anything in California. But then on the other hand, it's like You have people that are desperate, that are stealing diapers. You know, they're not looting TVs, and yet you have scenarios like this: little babies, little kids dying, you know, because of it. It's awful. It's awful.
Who has not been charged with any crime, says she was trying to communicate to officers that there was a baby in the car. They fired anyway, leading to the death of an innocent 1-year-old, Ben Crump said. The officer who shot the baby has been placed on leave.
Again, it's the same thing with the boat. It's the same thing with the boat. If it's so strong of evidence that you have charges for someone, that person has the right to go to court and defend themselves, and the state has the onus in order to charge them. That is like such a pillar of our judicial system. That is what makes the United States so great, is that we do have a judicial system where you're innocent until you're proven guilty. That is what this whole idea is. So that goes true with the boat strikes. It goes true with this case. You know, I feel like we definitely need to have a redo of our judicial system. Like, we need to have a revamp where people like Batman doesn't kill people, guys. You know what I mean? Batman doesn't kill people. He could, but he just throws them in jail. It's that easy. Are you serious about not seeing reports about the boat strikes? They said over 60 boat strikes, different boat strikes. Over 200 people have died. I saw them, the double tap of the ones on Pete Hegseth like months ago now, but no, I haven't seen 60 reports of them. Yeah, that I am not. Yeah. I'm from New Zealand, and my driver I work with took the COVID vaccine, and he told me the same day he passed out in the shower and then ended up waking up 10 days later from a coma. Would that be vaccine related? Passed out in the shower and ended up I mean, he hit his head, sounds like. So, I mean, you definitely can have an immune response where you are, you know, you feel like you're sick, but you're not sick. So it sounds like it was unfortunate, but he hit his head, and he probably had some brain swelling, and that's what happened. So that's what I would think. No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, you can feel, you know, flu-like symptoms, so it feels like you're weak and shaky. You know, like personally, like I get hit really hard when I take my COVID vaccine. So I can see why he would say that. I definitely have like had to been like, I'm just gonna sleep this off, and I just go to, you know, to bed. But yeah, you mentioned the side of his body went numb. Yeah, I'd probably say he had some like flu-like symptoms, but I wouldn't say that it's. I mean, it's vaccine related in the fact that there was like a series of events that happened, but I wouldn't say that it's. You know, he could have hit his head without the vaccine, kind of thing. Yeah. Yes, over 60 they reported on in Canada, BBC, and is that Ireland? Interesting. Yeah, I mean. So people incorrectly think that the flu-like symptoms that are associated with the vaccine are vaccine side effects. That's not what people are really talking about. The vaccine side effects are kind of like the really rare, super rare events. People have an allergic reaction or something like that. Like they're kind of like expected that you're going to have a flu, like you're going to have an immune response. So when people say like every single Republican I talk to or debate and stuff, they all say they have vaccine side effects, and it's like, no, that's not what we're really talking about. Like there was something that impacted your body but that's supposed to happen. So it's not a side effect. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of expected to happen.
Department of Justice is moving to block an NAACP lawsuit against Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company, XAI. The NAACP sued Musk's company for violating the Clean Air Act by running dozens of unpermitted gas-burning turbines in Mississippi to fuel a massive data center in Memphis. On Monday, the Justice Department said the lawsuit should be thrown out because it violates national security by, quote, seeking to shut off the power supply for artificial intelligence innovation that supports the Department of War's military operations, unquote. The FBI says it disrupted a plot to...
Would feeling sick after a couple of days be considered a side effect? So your body produces a little bit of the virus that then your immune system recognizes as a part of that virus, and then goes through the normal immune responses in order to memorize that piece of the virus. So one, you're not actually sick with an infection. So people erroneously say, every time I get a vaccine, I'm sick. And like, no, that's not true. You have flu-like symptoms. It feels like you're sick, but that doesn't mean that you're sick, actually. And then two, people say that series of events is a side effect. And medically, I don't know if it's actually considered a side effect, but what people are trying to say is that there is an unintended thing that is happening in my body that is super rare, that now my body is maimed and there's a problem with my body now that I didn't have before I had the vaccine. And that's not what the flu-like symptoms are. The flu-like symptoms are intended, and they're good, actually. It's good for your body to go through that. So it's not a side effect. It's like literally what your body is supposed to be doing. So the side effects are like the blood clots that happened with the DNA vaccines that people were having with the abnormally high rates. And that's why they got pulled from the market, and that kind of stuff. So a vaccine is basically boosting your body's immunity. Yes, Cone. Like legitimately, vaccines are boosting your natural immunity. Your natural immune system is being bolstered by presenting it a little training dummy that now your body is learning on. It's also ridiculous that they suggest they were injured when the nurse doctor that gives you the vaccine literally tells you about the possible side effects. Yeah, Rush. Yeah, exactly. I think it's one of those things. It's really interesting, Rush. I mean, I am not a physician. I don't have any medical training. I don't even work with mammals. Okay. I'm a scientist. I'm a research scientist, but because of how people interact with science and debunking and conspiracy theories, and I'm like genuinely interested in vaccines on the vaccine side, like on the molecular biology that creates the vaccine. It kind of goes through my content a lot. So I debate, vaccine skeptics and anti-vaxxers all the time. And in a lot of ways, like I have a lot more experience talking to these people than a lot of these physicians, unless they are like, pediatricians or a PCP where they are actually dealing with this every day in their practice. And they might talk to, a ton of patients a day, like trying to convince them and try to answer questions about vaccines. But I guess my point is my lived experience is that communication of the science needs to happen in a way that is clear, and I would not call the intended consequences of an event a side effect. You know what I mean? I would definitely say, if we were communicating clearly and concisely to a layperson, I would say it's actually pretty good if your body feels like you have the flu in a couple days because your body's learning how to do it. Don't worry, because that's actually a good thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the medical terminology is. I don't know what the official name is of that flu-like symptoms. I think it's flu-like symptoms. I don't think that it's like a negative vaccine side effect, but that's what people call them. So now it's like, so now what happens is that every single time a Republican or a MAGA person talks to their friends, they think, oh my God, I've known 100 people that got negative side effects to vaccines. They're super dangerous. And it's like, no. No, you don't know. Every single friend doesn't have a negative side effect to a vaccine. That's not true. You know, so it's the language that we choose in science communication is so important. Yes, exactly, Afon. Systemic reactions are completely normal and highly common and resolve and on their own in 24 to 48 hours. Exactly. Rush, that's good. Yeah, I was told to expect a sore arm and possible fever. Yeah, exactly. Linda, since the October 2025 U.S. brokered ceasefire, daily airstrikes, drone strikes, and shelling has continued, resulting in 1,000. Wow. Oh my gosh, 1,000 people killed in Gaza. That's awful. I got a really sore arm and a slight fever, went to bed early and woke up fine. Yeah, exactly, Rush. Yeah. I drove, so when it first came out, my wife was pregnant at the time, and I was really worried. You know, we didn't, you know, it was a lot of people were losing their life. I was worried, you know, with the young kid on the way. So I really wanted to get the vaccine early. So the point is I drove down to like basically the U.S. border to Mexico from Riverside. So it was like a 3-hour drive. And I go down there, get the shot. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I could go out to lunch, take a break, because I was just in the car for 3 hours. I don't want to go back right now because, you know, it's going to be a long drive. And then I was thinking, wait a second. If I start getting, you know, flu-like symptoms while this happens, I'm going to be driving and it's going to be absolutely miserable. So I just got right back into the car after waiting in line for like 2 hours. It was a huge ordeal. Drove down there for 3 hours, waited there in line for 2 hours, drove back, and like in the last hour, I started getting flu-like symptoms, and it was bad. The last 30 minutes, I was like, oh man, I'm so glad that I did not wait, because like go driving back the entire time, I would have gone really bad. Oh, nice, Rush. Yeah. I am 39, 40 in October. So just a young 39.
Attack the recent UFC fight at the White House. 5 people have been arrested so far, including a 19-year-old man who said the goal was to jumpstart a revolution. The FBI claims that people had plotted to launch explosive-loaded drones during the wrestling event and then use snipers to gun down people.
I love it that they called it a wrestling event. That's so good. I did watch it. I thought that Gaethje being a freaking champion is amazing. I think that that's cool. I love Gaethje. I mean, he's such a cool, when he's on, he's on. He's an amazing person to watch. I was really sad that Pereira, I thought he had so much more in him, and I thought it was going to be a way better fight, but Gane was good, man. It was really good. Yeah, I thought it was a good card. It wound up being a lot of knockouts, and it was, you know, action packed, and it was good. I thought like everything else was absolutely garbage. Like I can't tell you how frustrating it is to see our governmental buildings and our government to be used for-profit ads. And it's just we shouldn't be using the government for private profits. I mean, I don't even know how I can like say that more clearly. The United States government isn't to be used for private corporate profits of the UFC, which Donald Trump owns some stock in, by the way. So he benefits from that specifically. And some of the fighters got paid their bonuses apparently in Trump coin. So that was ridiculous. The Michelle Obama, I mean, it is so, they have Obama derangement syndrome. You know, MAGA gets so mad when we point out that Trump is doing very specific and very tangible negative harms to the country, but they still are just going on about Obama and his wife constantly. I mean, and it's because they have a coolness and a debonair, a suaveness that the Trumps will never have. And I think that they're deranged with Obama. It's crazy. Do you think it shouldn't have been done? Correct. Yeah, Cone. I mean, the idea that like Michelle Obama had like a vegetable garden like threw the Republicans in a fit before, or the fact that Obama installed a basketball court at the White House was like up in arms, you know. So, but the fact that he does that, like, I mean, it's so weird. Yeah, he probably was. Yeah, it was a cool event for MMA. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I would like if I was ever the president of the United States, would we just like host, and all of a sudden would the president of the United States be all about like going and surfing? And would I just all of a sudden, would it be okay for the United States government to pay like extraordinarily large sums of money where I'm going on these insane surf trips, or I am hosting these huge jiu-jitsu tournaments? You know, like, you pick your poison, or you pick your sport, and I don't think that a lot of people would be okay with just paying that with our government tax money. So like, as a fan, I actually am not okay with how Dana has handled this scenario. Like, the fighters aren't paid well. It's so bad that the heavyweight division is so split up that you have the three top heavyweight contenders leaving, like they're no longer in the UFC. They're going to boxing now. The fact that they had $1 million bonus isn't a lot, dude. People kept saying that, oh my gosh, it's $1 million in bonuses. That's not a lot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, BJJ, the CJI, the Craig Jones Invitational, that was $1 million. That was $1 million bonus. That for one fighter. So, like, that wasn't even a lot. If each fighter got $1 million for a bonus, maybe, like, okay, that's awesome. But like, there was $1 million bonus amongst all of them. Rush, not that it matters, but I don't get it. Michelle looks pretty hot out of my league, for sure. Rush. I mean, that's the other thing, is that they are racist, and Michelle Obama is one. It's an older woman, so they're misogynist, and older women are throwaways in their minds, because these incel kind of like right-wing guys, like, they see women after menopause or perimenopause as worthless in their minds. So that's where it comes from. And the fact that she's smart, well spoken, she's beautiful, dresses well, like fashionably, it's just intimidating to her. And the fact that she gives zero fucks about them is something that they can't handle. Does anyone know who started the conspiracy about the Michelle Obama thing? Oh, I mean, who knows, bro? They are constantly in that space. I have no idea. Fighters make their money from ads, which is the saddest part of the sport. Yeah, Cone. I mean, anyone that's a fan of the UFC knows that the UFC is not doing well right now. And the fact that like Trump gets a bigger and higher production walkout than the fighters themselves, dude. Like how is that okay with anyone? I've watched the UFC for 25 years, you know, and the idea that the fighters get a meek walkout while the president, you know, or Trump gets this huge thing. It's not okay, dude. It's not okay. It reminds me of like the NBA finals when the owner gets to touch the trophy first and he raises it first when he didn't actually do anything. Like, you don't deserve to raise that trophy, bro. Like, give it to the players. You know, it's like, give it like the Stanley Cup, dude. Give it to the captain first, and then you can, you know, give it to the team. So you know, he didn't earn that. Trump didn't earn that walkout. You know, they can pan. I think that they should, and you know, in the panning of all the celebrities and stuff that are there, like obviously he should be, you know, you should be there. If I was, you know, if I was, again, like I'm a sports fan, I would go to things if I was president of the United States too. I would love to do that, but it's not like I would expect special treatment from the venue itself, and I think that that's the gross part. They show videos of Michelle Obama dancing and she looks like a man. I don't know if it's AI or not. I think it's Dancing with Ellen. Oh yeah, Michelle. I mean, they've definitely like picked like these, you know, whatever in order to you know, say this. You know, it's pretty ridiculous. Well, that's because I have humility and he doesn't know the definition of that. That's very true, Michelle.
People fleeing the initial attack. Law enforcement was tipped off about the plot when the teenager's mother called police last week concerned about her son's recent purchase of firearms and his online communications with a group of people who'd represented themselves as ex-military who shared an ultra-religious Christian ideology.
Does this smell fishy to anyone else? I don't know, dude. This is a conspiracy. And that's the difference between me and everyone else on the internet, okay? When I have a conspiracy, I will say it's a conspiracy, and I'm not going to go 10 toes down on something that I know that I don't have any factual basis on. But this sounds very fishy to me. Just the photos, that what they're saying, this isn't like anything that you would you know, see with like Black Bloc or anyone that is militant on the left. There's just no way, dude. I don't know. I'm very fishy about this. This seems like a false flag event. Do the fighters have a team of people they need to pay? Yes, they do, Efon. So the fighters, exactly. That's a really good point. The fighters have to pay all of their coaches. They have to pay all their trainers. They have to pay, a lot of times they have their own gym, personal gym, because then they're able to focus just on their, like as a champion, they're able to focus just on themselves. So yes, exactly. So outside of the fight themselves and outside of that training camp window, they're training constantly. They have to be training constantly, and in order to stay abreast of like what's going on, and it costs them a lot of money. It costs them a lot of money because their managers, their trainers, they all are focused on them, and they'll have a team of people. So, yeah, it is bad. Thank you, Sanish.
In news from Sudan, the United Nations reports drone strikes in Sudan have killed more than 1,000 civilians in the first months of the year. Both the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces have carried out drone strikes as the war has expanded. According to the UN, 16 drone strikes have hit health centers. In other news from the region, Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, has confirmed it's dismissed 18 staff members as part of an internal investigation into aid workers in Chad accused of sexually exploiting and abusing Sudanese refugee women and girls. An internal report by MSF uncovered 59 cases of alleged abuse. The Guardian newspaper has...
We were just talking about the Sudanese civil war. Oh my God, that is so sad. That is awful.
Revealed a U.S. strike and...
Oh, Helen, they get a $50,000 bonus. That's it. $50,000 bonus if they win. You know, obviously the winner gets like something more. But like that's only given $50,000 is given to one person a night. And like that's not even in today's money, dude. Like that's, I mean, that pays for what? One coach, half of a coach's salary. I mean, there's no way that the trainer is making less than $100,000 a year. You know, I mean, there's just no way.
Somalia last November killed at least 12 civilians, including 8 children and a pregnant woman. Despite the high civilian death toll, The Guardian reports the U.S. military neither opened an investigation nor publicly acknowledged that civilians were killed. Since returning to office, President Trump has waged a largely secret war in Somalia, bombing Somalia at an unprecedented rate. Last year, the U.S. carried out 123 airstrikes in Somalia, more than double the previous record.
That's awful, man. So real quick, Sudan, South Sudan, that's what we're talking about. And this war, this region, these regions right here are usually like the most, you know, so we're here on the world. South Sudan, and then Somalia is down here. The Horn of Africa. And then this is the strait that everyone was talking about over there. Sorry. So, good old maps. We like maps and primary sources here. Big maps guy.
In health news, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's warning the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo could become the worst in history. The number of confirmed cases in the DRC has increased to 837, the official death toll nearly 200. The Africa CDC said more money is needed to trace potential infections to help halt the spread. In the United States, several counties in Texas have declared a state.
I mean, it's definitely going to happen. I mean, I would think that it's for sure going to be the biggest sin of all time, and it's for sure going to get to Europe. I mean, it's going to spread. I mean, we don't have any vaccines yet, so they're trying to develop one right now, but it's not looking good. Not looking good at all.
In the United States, several counties in Texas have declared a state of disaster after the U.S. Department of Agriculture detected a dozen cases of New World screwworm.
Oh my gosh, I thought
cattle,
it was 2.
Goats, and a dog.
Oh my
the parasite
gosh.
feeds off the flesh of warm-blooded animals and is often fatal. It was detected in a Texas calf on June 3rd, the first domestic screwworm infestation since the parasite was eradicated in the U.S. 60 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
In response, the Republican governor, Greg Abbott, announced plans to release hundreds of millions of genetically altered sterile flies in an effort to eradicate screwworm. Meanwhile...
And what is he doing? They're using an emergency use authorization in order to do that. The same mandate and approval that they criticize with the COVID vaccines. There you go. Michelle, I am the worst at geography. Me too, Michelle, actually. That I actually am habitually bringing up the map in order to learn, and y'all are learning with me. So that is the goal.
The Trump administration's tapped Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins to lead the federal response to the crisis.
Also want to continue to ensure this does not affect the food supply system. This is not a virus. It is not a disease. It is a pest. And so we obviously are treating it as such.
According to a report by the Food and
Dude. Well, at least she thinks that viruses are real. I guess that's a win. I was a philosophy major at the time, but I took a physical anthropology class as an elective and did a report on Ebola after reading The Hot Zone. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yes. That's a great book. We really should take it seriously after COVID. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great book. I remember that too. Yeah.
agriculture news source AgriPulse. Sweeping cuts to USAID by Elon Musk's so-called DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, last year included a program dedicated to tracking and preventing the spread of screwworm across the U.S.-Mexico border.
What? We needed that?
Voters went to the polls in Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia Tuesday. In Georgia, the Trump-backed Congressman Mike Collins won the Republican Senate primary, defeating Derek Dooley, who'd been backed by Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp. Collins will face off against Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff in November. Meanwhile, the billionaire Rick Jackson, who won the Republican governor's race, defeating Burt Jones, who is backed by Trump. Jackson spent more than $100 million on the race. He'll face former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms in November's general election for Georgia's governor.
Come on.
And in California, the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission has voted unanimously to fully fund Access Sacramento for the next fiscal year. The nonprofit Community Media Center had faced severe budget cuts due to a dramatic drop in revenue from cable TV subscriptions. To see our recent interview with Joe Barr, executive director of Access Sacramento, the public access TV station, go to democracynow.org. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Thanks for watching Democracy Now!
Dude, I freaking love Democracy Now!, man. Well, what an incredible 13 minutes. I feel like that was so incredibly well put and succinct and so much awesome news. I love that. I want to do that every night on stream. That'd be such a cool thing to do. Okay. They're talking about authenticity, Ossoff's, Newsom. Oh, man. All right. I really am curious how they talk about Newsom. So let's finish this out and then we'll go to bed.
Is everybody going to be talking about in 2026 as a 2028 savior? I think the answer would have been Raphael Warnock.
100%.
Yeah. And instead, Ossoff is the one people
for re-election in a swing state and is right now polling very well. We'll see what happens.
But if you back up a couple of years, if I said to you in 2024, which of the, or 2022 or whatever, which of Georgia's Democratic senators is everybody going to be talking about in 2026 as a 2028 savior? I think the answer would have been Raphael Warnock.
100%.
And instead, Ossoff is the one people are talking about. And I was looking at Raphael Warnock's YouTube page because he's doing content. But
look at him. Look at him. 36,000 subscribers, 262 videos. He's doing it. That was really cool. Yeah, Michelle, I want to try to do more stream events like that. And yeah. So I think I want to work on the debates and stuff from TikTok and the discussions, and then also do more reactions, like stuff like that. So I want to do that. But yeah, I think that's the goal. That's the goal, to just kind of have more, to stream more during the day, get that debate kind of like the TikTok stuff, and then do at night, do a different react stuff too. So yeah, the screw room's an obligate parasite. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, basically, it's very virus-like. I mean, they're not logically consistent. You know what I mean? Fawn, they're just making it up. It's really embarrassing.
It doesn't have any of the visual grammar. One thing that, you see in a Mamdani, you see in a Jon Ossoff, you see in a James Tallarico, is this is not just an age of algorithms. It's visual.
Very visual.
And, you'll see Warnock, and he's like talking in, the Senate press conference setups, and he's just like in front of American flags. And Ossoff, they had figured out, you know the clip like immediately when you see it. And Ossoff used to be a documentarian who did documentaries on international corruption.
Really?
So there's a background here. This guy actually knows how to create TV about corruption.
Yep.
But there's something really interesting to me about, first the scarcity, the creating want, this who is Jon Ossoff, this building anticipation, plus this figuring out of a visual grammar
that's distinct and wholly your own,
and looks like Obama.
Yes, it does look like Obama.
It looks like...
It's also the hero shot.
It's always a hero shot, which was a constant... You remember there was an...
You got to be skinny for that to work. I just want it for anyone else who's taking notes out there in production. You got to be pretty thin for that hero shot.
There was the hero shot being this sort of 3/4 upwards angle.
Yeah.
And otherwise you get a lot of chin.
Yeah, you get a lot of chin.
And there was this great Onion article on Obama, where something like, Obama accidentally steers too far into future. Because he was very good at this.
And the Ossoff shot is always...
It's always like this. Like, he doesn't seem like he's looking at a crowd.
Yeah.
He's looking
out past the crowd. No, you're right. And I do think it's true that kind of visual branding is so interesting. There's one other dimension of Ossoff that I think is really worth mentioning in terms of 2028, and which is that he's Jewish.
Yes.
And
a genuine Israel critic.
This is so. I think, to go back to what we were saying about that Michigan race, there's no way of getting around the fractures in the party on Gaza, Israel, perceptions of anti-Semitism, perceptions of undue influence by the Israel lobby. Like, the coalition contains both elements. And someone's going to have to figure out how to thread that needle. And if you were asking me what that person might look like, I would say the first Jewish nominee in history who is also a critic of Israel would be one recipe to thread a very difficult needle for the coalition.
Yeah, and the point here is that Ossoff has substance on this. So he early on signed on to a Bernie Sanders letter that I think only had 19.
Yes, very like with a small group. It wasn't
small group that was against sending more arms to Israel, given the level of humanitarian devastation that was currently being inflicted by Israel upon Gaza. My colleague Michelle Goldberg had a great profile of him, and she mentions like a Haaretz piece, which is like the liberal Israeli newspaper, saying, well, this position is going to make it much harder for Ossoff to win in Georgia. And no, it put Ossoff in position to actually navigate this in a way the others are going to have a lot of trouble with.
Yep.
Josh Shapiro is going to have a lot of trouble here, is already having a lot of trouble here. And you know, but if you go too far to the other side, you're going to have, right, you're going to need somebody who can represent both sides of the divide at once. And Ossoff, who is one, centering on a corruption story, who is two, centering on he moves a corruption critique into an argument for liberal pluralism.
Yes.
Right? It's sort of a populist critique with a liberal pluralist answer. Right? Talks a lot about values, talks a lot about being rooted in the civil rights movement, and then is able to navigate this dimension of the party's schism.
He's also done something on corruption that I have struggled to do, and I don't know if you felt the same way. The corruption is so overwhelming, and you can hear in my voice right now, like
so much.
It leaves me speechless. It's so brazen. It's so insane. Every single day I discover some new story that is like, would have been the end of any other politician I've covered. Ossoff has figured out how to tell that story very, very well.
Sure. One reason is that he moves it to be as about Donald Trump and also about the Democratic Party, also about the existing institutions, right?
See, I get why people voted for him. Because even before he came on the scene, America had the most corrupt political system in the Western world. It's been running on corporate money, secret money, billionaire money, both sides. And it's worse than ever now. Citizens United was the worst court decision in modern American history.
I mean, yeah, it definitely didn't help. It didn't help.
And when members of Congress aren't begging for money from lobbyists, they're trying to dodge getting carpet bombed by these super PACs. And see, this is why nothing works for ordinary people. It's not because of woke college kids or trans students or because there are interracial couples in cereal commercials.
So true.
It's because the people's elected representatives don't represent the people. They represent the donors.
There's a credibility. He's very careful always to do this, which again is another Obama move. Obama would always include an argument from the other side in the argument he was making.
Always.
It was
people say.
Yeah, right. And he does that, right? You know, both sides. And he's very, very careful to make this a critique of the system itself, of which Donald Trump is taking advantage of it, but is not its originating cause.
Yeah. And I think that's also part of, again, it does help to, it helps to be getting your reps before the Georgia electorate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like comedians. Politicians are like comedians. You work the room.
The guy, this is Chris Hayes. The other guy's Ezra Klein.
You see where your laugh lines are. You work different rooms. You work larger and larger rooms, and the room matters a lot. And the feedback you get from the room it matters a lot. It helps to be in a context where the room that you're working is a Georgia elector. I think this was true of Bernie Sanders in Vermont, where, you know, he only got to where he was after many failures, many electoral failures, many years in the electoral wilderness, by figuring out how to talk to the median Vermont voter who was not a committed ideological socialist.
It's why Barack Obama was as good as he was, because he was a black politician who had to work white rooms.
Yeah.
You know, and he's talked about that, how much you had to do in, you know, to win statewide in Illinois, to win in these rural areas where people were very skeptical of a person named Barack Hussein Obama in 2004. The other
Rush, I would just challenge you to read Abundance or listen to the audiobook for Abundance. Like a lot of people basically think erroneously what they think about it, but reading it, it's incredibly interesting, and he makes incredible points that I don't understand how anyone can be against. So it's very odd for me, like the criticism, especially from the left, that just isn't based in any actuality. They made it into this like neoliberal supply side argument, which just is not true. And yeah, it was pretty pathetic how people responded to it, as opposed to engaging with any of the actual points of the book.
thing that I think is worth touching here. One thing I see among the Democrats right now is they're all competing to prove they're the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And relatively few are working in the more inspirational side of the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
That you look at Newsom, you look at AOC.
Yeah, Rush, definitely read it. Definitely read it. It'd be interesting to read it now, like especially considering it's been some time, because you'll see how like all the commentators have obviously not read it, and yet they just dogged on it and bashed it without actually reading it. I don't understand. Like, if it's your job to be a media pundit, it's your job to read the things that you're criticizing. You have to do the work. That is your job. And so much of our media, they don't do that. They don't read the primary literature. They just parrot what everyone else here is saying. So they're kind of in the zeitgeist, you know.
You look at Pritzker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're all like, I am your brawler,
Mm-hmm.
right? I will rip their throats out for you. And Ossoff, even though he's sort of attacking corruption, he is
not in that mode at all.
It's a different register. Yeah. There's a type of Democrat who, even if they've learned to suppress it, their fundamental feeling at all levels is a disbelief.
I can't believe this is happening. I literally can't believe this is happening.
That anybody could like this guy, that these things aren't sinking him.
Yes.
And he is formed in races.
Exactly. Where
that is not a register that works, and you cannot. A lot of Democrats have to kind of abstractly come to the view that there are people in this world who like Donald Trump, but they don't know any of them.
Yeah.
And if they do, they've maybe cut them out of their lives. And that is not Jon Ossoff's world.
That's what I mean. So he's formed fully in an environment in which the appeal of Trump and Trump's power over the electorate and Trump's power over specific people that he has to win over, or whose family members he has to win over, is present from the beginning. And I think there's something really useful in power.
D-Vibe, I saw the debate where you humiliated Hovind. That was painful to watch. Well, thank you, D-Vibe. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate you. Thank you for saying that.
Careful about that. For just, again, how you train.
But if you look at polling, and if you particularly now look at the prediction markets, polling, Kamala Harris has a lead. I think people are skeptical that lead will lead to primary dominance, but I guess we'll see if she runs. But if you look at prediction markets, the lead is Gavin Newsom. And we all knew Gavin Newsom wanted to run for president. I would say 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I was pretty dismissive of how that was likely to go. You know, handsome white guy with a bunch of scandals from California was like not what the Democratic Party seemed to be looking for. Who he is in some ways has changed, or actually in some ways maybe come closer to a core of him. What do you think about the way Newsom has maneuvered himself into?
Dude, I seriously love his. It comes and goes. He isn't all the way all gas on it, you know, his media presentation. But I think that it's like the funniest, and it's the most intapped with that what people actually want, and it pisses people off that he is funny, that he is on point, that he is like meeting the moment, and that makes people frustrated.
One, attentionally capable in a way he wasn't always. But two, I think it is a fairly wide consensus right now that he is a Democratic frontrunner for 2028.
I think I have complicated feelings. I mean, I think that there's some part of me that just thinks governor of California is tough. Mm-hmm. A tough thing to do to win to be the president. Of course, New York real estate developer is also pretty tough.
Yeah, what? So. I mean, give me 1 in 8.
Yes, I think the
1 in 8 Americans live in California. I mean, the idea that people otherize California is so hard, is so wild. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Enjoyed tonight's content. Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate you so much.
Choice he's made intentionally is one of the most interesting, which is he was always a charismatic guy, but he was not. He has chosen omnipresence. Mm-hmm. He's chosen to say yes to everything. He's chosen to go everywhere. He's chosen to host his own podcast. He's chosen to host his own podcast.
He just
which
had
has, like,
Ashley Sinclair on it.
Yeah.
He just
my
had Ben
gosh.
Shapiro on not
Yeah.
long ago. He's doing things you would not expect.
Exactly. And I think it has produced a comfort that is really, really useful in the world that we live in. I think there's a question of both what the Democratic primary electorate wants and what the general electorate wants in relation to Donald Trump. And here's what I mean by this. You were talking about like being a fighter. And I think there's a little bit of, Freddie Hampton said, you don't fight fire with fire, you fight fire with water. And there's a little bit of a question between, do you want to fight fire with fire or do you want to fight fire with water? And the our fighter version, like our brawler, our Trump, essentially, which I think is appealing to some people in the Democratic electorate, is sort of the mode that some Democratic politicians have gone, and in some almost sort of parodic ways that Newsom has gone by doing the whole like Trump shtick online.
Okay, but let me complicate this in one way, because it's why I find Newsom really interesting.
Because he is doing more than that. I agree. Yes.
There are two things. So one is the number of reps he's getting, places he's going. I mean, you and I just saw him at the CAP Ideas Conference. He's just gotten better.
Yeah.
He's gotten better faster than the others have. But the other thing, I think a really big problem Democrats have faced since Obama is about describing a kind of unity that we can find as a country, a way of living here together, despite our disagreements, despite our history, despite our differences. And Bill Clinton did a lot in this register, right? He, Rhodes Scholar, but poor Arkansas boy, New South.
Yep.
Obama, I mean, the master of this register.
Yes.
But because he was a master of this register, he somewhat destroyed the ability of anybody else to use it, because if he couldn't achieve it.
Right. That's a good point.
If what the Obama era cashed out into was Donald Trump.
That's a good point.
And the division and dissolution of like the shared moral and democratic framework we had, then to speak like Obama did in 2004, to speak like he did in 2008 becomes naive. Nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But the weird thing Newsom is doing is containing these two opposite ideas in himself, which is one, like, I'll be your brawler. But two, we will just disagree honestly and in public.
Yeah.
And continue the relationship with each other under those terms. He'll talk to Charlie Kirk, before Charlie Kirk was killed. He'll talk to Michael Savage. He'll talk to Ben Shapiro. He'll go to the left. And Newsom is sort of, it almost seems to me, making this argument that is not that we can live here together in some way where our differences dissolve. It's that our fights with each other can be productive.
Yeah. I mean, I think I hadn't thought of it in those terms before. It's a very Ezra Kleinist approach. I do wonder whether there's also a kind of incoherence in that narratively that makes it a little difficult to pull off.
I don't think he's been able to synthesize them yet.
Yeah,
I'm not sure you can,
right.
But it's why I find his campaign very interesting.
Right.
He'll often talk about the place right now in his rhetoric that falls the most flat for me is he'll start talking about they need to be a repairer of the breach, right? A repairer of the breach. It's a biblical line.
Right.
And
I haven't heard that before.
You don't feel it. Like, you don't feel how he's going to repair the breach.
Right.
I want to end here on the big attentional campaign
Michelle.
that kind of ended in
I think that's
failure,
a big part of it.
which was Spencer Pratt
So
in Los
interesting.
Angeles. Because if you were online, it was like this former reality star is coming out of nowhere. He's got the greatest ads. You can't be on X for 5 minutes without seeing something from him. He's going to, maybe win 50% in the runoff.
Oh
maybe,
my gosh.
Maybe at least make the runoff.
Jeez.
But then it didn't pan out to anything. He underperformed Donald Trump.
I think it's a great counterpoint to many of the theories I've been exposing. So I'm glad we're talking about it because it was a very successful campaign attentionally. I do think there's something going on. We should just say there's something going on with X right now under Elon Musk that is a little distinct to that platform, which is that it's become a kind of hermetically sealed hothouse of insanity.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
when you enter it, when you're not in it all the time, you enter it, you're like, you guys are nuts.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way many people felt about like what we might call kind of peak woke Twitter. So part of it, I think, is a product of how much that was an X candidacy.
Yeah, there's also a question of what's real there.
Yes.
Right? What's being clip farmed?
Totally.
What has a lot of bots pushing it?
But the other lesson I think here, it is never going to be the case that attention is the entire story. There has to be something else happening. And I think with Pratt, there was nothing else happening, really.
Mm-hmm.
There was no reason for that man to be mayor, first of all.
For real.
Why
no
that guy?
reason. What was,
I
seriously?
do think the
None.
Pratt campaign to me really is an object lesson in what X is at this point that I think would be very useful for everyone to internalize, because you and I both remember back in the day when people would say Twitter is not real life.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I think that's even more the case now under the algorithmic empire of one Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest advantages Democrats have going into 2028
is not being there.
Is that Elon Musk has control of Twitter. I think people think of this as a problem for Democrats. It's the opposite, because Musk
really
is
to that.
warping Twitter towards a hard right, conspiratorial, hermetic nature. And in the way that when Democrats had dominance over Twitter, when liberals and progressives and leftists had dominance
And
over
we're
Twitter,
talking to each other.
they convinced themselves of a bunch of ideas that were politically lethal, but they didn't understand that, because where they were, it's like to have normie opinions was politically lethal. That's how it is for the right now on Twitter.
Exactly what's
and
happening.
JD Vance is there, and all of their staffers are there. And whereas like the liberals and Democrats and leftists are split and broken across different platforms, and that is genuinely an advantage.
I have come to this exact same conclusion.
Yeah, like Twitter, it's like it's a kind of a curse, right? It makes you feel very powerful, and you pay for it.
Yeah.
Let's end there. Always our final question,
dude. I freaking love Ezra. I think people are intimidated by Ezra, and he doesn't sound like any other pundit because he doesn't consume like social media. He says he just reads books, and you can tell he's definitely like coming up with his own ideas, and they're different, and he's not just meaning the news. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of pundits and stuff that will just repeat the same phrasing, the same words, the same ideas over and over and over again. But Ezra Klein doesn't do that. He does not do that. And so in order to actually contend with what he's saying requires novel thinking, novel thought, and they can't do that. These pundits can't do that. So what they do is they smear him, and they say, they write him off as, oh, it's just liberal, typical neo-lib. And for real, I feel like it's the opposite, where he's genuinely creating new thoughts, new ideas. And so they just smear him, and it's so frustrating because what he's talking about would be so good to discuss in the Democratic Party and have those conversations, but especially on the left, like how can we have abundance of resources and materials and access without capitalism? And people don't do that. It's all about degrowth, and that's where the whole conversation ends, and it's just boring. You know, that nobody wants that. People want to have a future that is better than the past, and if you just try to sell them on your ideology with like things are going to have to get a little bit worse because we're going to have to take away a bunch of like amenities that you have. Doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. Nobody wants to do that. So in any revolution or any type of political movement, you're always going to have things like your quality of life is going to have to be abundantly better. So writing him off, it's such a fool's errand. I really feel like it just shows someone that hasn't I don't know. It just shows someone that hasn't actually engaged with him in his thoughts. And it's the same thing with Rachel Maddow. People write off Rachel Maddow as like some ideologue. It's like, well, she's unabashedly Democrat, but why are you not dealing with anything that she's saying? So that's the thing that I think about. Yeah, exactly. He's very analytical. He's like his observations are so astute, concise, beautifully said. Yeah, that's my thing. My only worry about abundance mindset is that it doesn't really avoid Elon Musk happening. He doesn't talk about anything about taxes the ultra wealthy in abundance, though. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's all about how bureaucracy in government can lead to abstractions and unintended consequences. So I would think that if with the abundance based government, people would have more faith in our institutions, more faith in our government, and would argue for higher taxes a lot easier. So I think it's actually the opposite. I think that people would be like, why aren't you, we build all these homes and we improve our quality of life through these services, and these are the things that we've built with that money. Why aren't you being taxed? And why aren't we using your wealth in order to fund this, versus how it is now, where people see government not being efficient, and then they kind of say, well, I mean, government sucks, so why would it be better if Elon Musk had $500 billion in the government versus privately? So that's, I mean, obviously I think that, the case is still, in the government's hands there in the second example, but my point still stands that, like, it's in common parlance, that's a very easy argument to make, and I think that that's the problem. Yeah, Rush, you'd like the book. The audio book is so good. It's really not that bad. It's two parts. The first part is kind of like what everyone talks about, and it's so true. It's so apparent when people don't actually even read the book, because they don't even talk about the second part of the book. The second half is actually how technology has dramatically improved our lives, from COVID vaccines to solar panels, and so people don't even talk about that side of the book. They don't even. It's literally half of the book that nobody even references. So if you want to talk and ask anyone, I had a guy in chat today that was trying to say that he had read the book, and I was like, oh, okay, so what's the second example in the second half of the book? Nothing. And you're like, bro, the entire half of the book, you're saying you didn't read half of the book? Give me a break. It's so good. It's so good, Michelle. You're going to love it. All right, I'm going to go to bed too. Thank you so much for all the chats and the gifts, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rush. Helen, Michelle, Tony, Linda, Efon, NB, Paulafost, Sanish, Cone, D-Vibe. Thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate you. Stream tomorrow during the day. We'll see what's going on. All right. See you guys. Bye.